When it comes to cutting layers in your own hair, there's a number of things that you need to really take into consideration first and foremost, and that is how long or where do you want the layers to start in your haircut. So this is my signature layered haircut. This is a haircut I charge $300 for, and honestly, I've retired from seeing clients. But this is the price of this haircut that I would be charging. And when I did retire from seeing clients, I did have a higher price point. So the reason that this is a premium haircut, and if you're trying to do this haircut at home, or if you're a professional wanting to do this, I do have a course, a dedicated private course you can purchase for only $60. I normally would charge $300 to train one person to learn this haircut, and I would charge $300 on a client to execute this. For $60, you could actually learn how to do this haircut step by step on my course website, and the link is in the description below. $60, and you literally can watch it as many times as you want and have access to it. So when it comes to layering your hair at home and cutting your own layers, the first thing you need to understand is how long is your hair going to be. So this is what I would call a medium length layered haircut, right? This is medium length here, just past, above the shoulders, has a lot of movement, a lot of texture, a lot of flow. This is done on 100% straight hair. If you notice the length, everything is balanced, okay? Everything is balanced. That's going to give the hair a lot of shape and a lot of volume throughout the entire head. If you are unsure of this, what you need to do is kind of experiment and play around with your hair. And when you brush your hair, what is your hair type? Is your hair really thick? Is your hair really straight? Is your hair wavy? Is it curly? Is it frizzy? Is it super dry? Because your hair texture will play a really big role on how the haircut itself comes out when you're cutting layers. For example, if you cut the hair and say you cut it like here, you cut all that hair off, and then all of a sudden, because it's wavy or curly, it shrinks up from here to here, and you're like, whoa, why is it so short? Because, as you know, the hair will kind of jump up and spring up if it's wavy or curly. If you've got really dry, frizzy hair and you cut it too short, what's going to happen, it's going to look like a frizz ball on top of your head. All right, so the first thing is you need to establish, where do you want to see these pieces? These pieces right in through here. This is the shape. This is where the hair is going to settle. Now, if you watch this, when I hold this hair up, watch what happens. It falls down to about right here. So this piece, if I bring this all the way up, it falls down here. And then this piece from the very top of the head, if I take this and let it fall down, it's going to come right in this area here. So there it is. So the top of the head, that's going to be the shortest point, and it's going to fall down. If you want to see your layers, the top layers, longer, then that means when you're cutting your layers, what you need to do is don't cut it so short. So I cut this to make it fall here. All right. Now, if I were to extend this way up longer, that means it's going to drop down to this one area. Now, you can have layers that, you may be expecting a look like this to have a lot of flow and a lot of movement. But the problem is, if you don't cut it short enough, it's going to still weigh the hair down, and it's going to come all the way down to here. Chances are, if you're combing this up and you're not cutting it short enough, it's because you don't want to cut it too short, and you're afraid that you might hack your hair. But if you leave it too long, then it's not going to have that movement or that flow. So keep in mind, first things first is how long do you want your layers. Now, again, this is for a medium length layered haircut. Once you establish that, all right, and pretty much the base of the haircut, the actual length, should be set already. Now, why would you be cutting your hair at home yourself? Maybe you don't like going to a stylist, you don't like going to a salon, you can't find somebody. We're trained professionals. And yes, obviously, if you're cutting hair yourself at home, a professional has given you a hack job. And I've seen so many comments from people saying, oh, I've tried 13 stylists, I've tried 14 stylists, I've been to every salon in a 1 mile radius. No one can, if you've done that much and no one can get your hair right, maybe it's you. Maybe you have different expectations and your hair isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. And that professional needs to tell you. Or maybe people suck in the area that you're going to. I have no idea. It depends on how much you're looking to pay. I've heard all of it. So, a lot of these people, it's because they can't do a proper haircut on you, you're like, oh, I'm going to try it myself. Now, doing it yourself, it is a do it at your own risk, right? For me, for example, in order to charge this kind of money and to achieve these results, it's years upon years and tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands, of investing in myself to master my craft to get me where I'm at. Watching a haircut video one time on YouTube or watching numerous videos of mine, it's going to take some time. That's why I did create these private courses, it's a lot more in-depth of learning how to do haircuts like this step by step. But just keep in mind, do it at your own risk. Layering, just to simplify what layering is, it's a technique designed to remove weight. If your hair is very heavy, if your hair needs some texture, some movement, doesn't matter how short or how long it is, layering is going to alleviate some of that weight and bring shorter pieces into the shape of your hair. So if your hair is one length all the way down here and I cut it to here, well, guess what? Now you have a layered piece right here. Now, it could be a hacked piece because you could just take hair and go right across and just hack it, and now you have this short piece into here, and you're like, technically I guess it is a layer, but it's a hacked layer. So layering is not only about removing weight and creating shape, it's also about being balanced. So the next thing about this is being balanced with your layers. The best way to check for balance is, one, make sure you're using the right tools. So I do sell a variety of hair tools. I have this amazing comb, this carbon comb right here. I do sell hair cutting combs right here. I have my own shears, which are the shears that I use. It's all available at shop.TheSalonGuy.com. Now, if you're to take, and I would probably do this in your situation on damp hair, to be honest with you. I'm just doing this on dry hair because it's easier for me to demonstrate like this. But if you are, about to start layering your hair, and how do you check for balance? Well, it really comes down to, one, making sure that when you hold this piece straight up, and if you're doing this yourself, this could be kind of the center piece. Just remember, if you cut this piece too short, then everything else has to be just as short in order to be balanced. If you hold the hair here, which is the ideal length for this haircut, everything has to be balanced working this way, right? This piece has to all fall and travel in areas that are going to help keep the hair balanced. So as you're cutting, and you'll notice I'm going to be bringing everything straight up from the head like this, and as we work forward towards the face, you're going to see that all of this is balanced. It's consistently cut and has consistent length. As we go towards the round of the head, the corners, right? You're going to see it's got that consistent balance. Okay, so the hair grows up. And the best way to remember this is probably one of the most important things of cutting your hair, even as a professional, is, you've got the head shape, you've got the top, the corners, and the sides. The top, corners, sides. Top is where the hair grows. It doesn't always grow straight up from the head, it goes out from the head. So the hair could actually grow on an angle this way because it's growing out from the head. Nothing just goes straight up. Maybe on the highest point of the head or in certain areas. The sides are going to grow out like this, right? So it's up, out, and then out, all right? Or even down. Because sometimes, a lot of times when you get to the sides over here, the side of the hair follicle, if you look in the mirror, it's growing downwards. So a lot of it is following the contour and the head shape. That's how you're going to get a balanced haircut, is if when you're cutting it, you keep it simplified and you're cutting following the head shape. This is not only for you at home trying to do this, but it's also for professionals as well. That's how I cut hair. I cut hair to be very, very balanced. The next thing is, keep in mind, when you're cutting the corners and you're pulling the hair out from the head like so, and you start to see this, you're going to see shorter pieces up here because obviously you cut it. Then you're going to see longer pieces here. Yes, you do have to cut that because that is the hair that needs to be cut in order to be layered. Now, the next thing, and the really essential and very important thing, is when you get down to the sides here. So as I mentioned, here's the length, right? If I hold this straight up, all this hair that falls, all this hair right here, this is how long your hair is, right? Here is the length, aka how long your hair is. When you comb this straight out from the head, keep in mind that you are pulling that length out and like this. You're pulling it out from the head, which means, okay, and keep this in mind, which means that if you start cutting this length, you're then going to lose that length and it's going to get very wispy and you're going to have holes on the bottom of your head. If you've ever gone home from a haircut at a salon and you've noticed that your ends are really stringy and wiry and weird shape to it, you've got holes in the bottom of your hair, it's because a professional does not know what they're doing. They butchered your hair and did not layer it properly. I've seen this firsthand from other professionals doing this. If I were to cut this, and I don't want to ruin this hair, it's such a beautiful haircut, and I were to cut all this length down here, and I'm meaning I took this chunk, all this hair would be gone. It would be very weird and wiry and curly. So instead, let that length drop out and you're cutting on top of the length, okay? You're cutting what the weight is, what's falling on top of that length. And that's how you're gonna maintain and protect that. Very, very, very important part of this entire haircut and any haircut process, okay? Same thing when you're going towards the front here. And I'm gonna talk about the face framing and stuff in a second. All of this is very important. The hair has to fall on top of the length and be very, very soft. So the balance is really important. The top, the corners, and the sides, right? And determining how long. If anything, it's better to go shorter in the front to longer. This is a shorter, okay, here's the length right here. And it's, you can see from the side here, it goes shorter, which is shorter here to longer, right? Shorter to longer. And the reason is because that's where the hair grows. The hair grows out from the head. So the reason this flows so nicely is because of me creating that shorter flow starting in the front. So when it comes to the front of your hair, and say you want to have, you know, a kind of a curtain or a wispy type of layer in the front here, you want to have some pieces that kind of, you know, go over like this, right? You want to have like a nice little feathered curtain bang or butterfly bang or something like this right in the front. Obviously, you can see it's shorter right in the front, right here. So what you need to do is, now I tend to do this while I'm cutting. The first thing that I will do is create the outline. I wanted to set up a few other things so you understand what layering is before I even start talking about this. So when it comes to creating the outline, what I will do is I will take the hair and comb it straight down like so, and then I'm going to determine how long I want this to be. So if I want my angle to start here, keep in mind that if it starts here, it's going to end up being shorter over here. All right, so it has to travel all the way over this way. Don't think, oh, I'm going to cut it to here, and then you bring this over, and you're like, oh my God, my hair's up to here. That's because you cut it too short. So what you need to do is realize that you're taking a piece, and you can cut this straight across. That's what I would do in the front. And then what I do is I make the connection of going on an angle. Sorry, and you can see right here. Here's the angle. The angle is going shorter to longer, right? And then you can hold it, and you can actually angle your fingers. Your fingers will determine where the hair is going to travel. So if I point my fingers to me, then I'm leaving it longer here and cutting here underneath. If I angle my fingers and point them up and rotate, like the palm's going to the sky, that's what you want. You want to go shorter up here to longer on the bottom, okay? When you see your palm, you're going to be in good shape. So you're going longer like this. If you're pulling this out and you bring the hands in and angle the fingers this way and you cut, you're going to chomp a hole in your hair. Same thing on the other side. And then once you establish this length, okay, you bring this forward and cut. Bring this forward, and then what's going to happen is once you have this front piece right here, then you're going to be able to determine, well, if this piece is this short here, right? And you can hold this out. You can even turn your head so you can see in the mirror. If you hold this out and you go, well, this piece is this long, then I have to angle and cut all of this to eventually go shorter. Now, if you were to judge everything on this one piece and cut everything, like I mentioned before, straight up, look how much hair you'd cut off. You would chomp off all of this hair and then you'd have a panic attack. But no, the hair grows out from the head. And this is how you follow the head shape. And you can see we're getting more gradually back to the top back of the head like this. So do not just hold this straight up, bring it up and go, oh, look at all where the hair is and chomp this off. No, it's out from the head. So in all honesty, once again, like I mentioned, how to layer your own hair. This applies to all methods. You know, if you're male, female, doesn't really matter. This is a technique that I would cut your hair the same way, no matter what. It just depends on how long you want your hair to be. This is a medium length layered haircut. Now I do have a mannequin here that is really, really long. This has much longer hair. And you're probably going, does he have a mannequin with a lot longer hair? Check out how long this is. This is really long hair. So for this, again, if you are that type of person that's like, oh, I love my hair really long. I don't want to mess with it. You know, I want my hair to stay really, really long, or I want like a middle part. You know, I want to have like that butterfly kind of thing. Well, there you go. Then what you need to do is bring your hair forward like this. Bring it down as far as you want, right? And what I do is I create like a triangle right through here. I go eyebrow to eyebrow, or corner of the eyebrow to corner of the eyebrow. That gives me a good kind of range, okay? Corner of the eyebrow to corner of the eyebrow. And then what I'll do is I'll hold this and then I'll cut it straight across. Now I want to leave this long specifically. I'm not going to chomp it, but I will cut this straight across. And then it's going to create a piece for me to then go in and angle. Now watch, especially on long hair. If I go my fingers inwards like this, imagine if you cut all this hair off. You would literally have a chunk of hair gone. Instead, what you need to do is take your fingers and angle and rotate so you can see your palm. Make sure that hair is combed. And then what you want to do is maintain that length. You could even slide your hands down like this to maintain all of that length. Now, if you've got really fried split ends like this, then I would suggest getting those ends trimmed somehow. I mean, you could try to do it yourself. But again, if you're just looking to create layers, it all comes down to where you want those layers to start, especially on longer hair. And then, if you see this, then watch what happens. Look how long this hair is. If I were to cut this here, and then I were to take this piece that's short and bring it here, I would lose all of this hair right in through here. Look at this. This is insane. I would lose a ton of hair. So this is why it's important. Cutting this way and then following the head shape, right? Sorry, I'm getting all sorts of text here. Following the head shape. Really, really important. So it comes down to, it doesn't matter if your hair is shorter, it doesn't matter if your hair is longer. This is essential to understanding layering your hair at home. Once again, in the description below is a link to where I have in-depth haircut tutorials you can purchase that are extremely affordable. It's probably cheaper than what it costs for you to get your hair cut. If you're a professional, a lifetime investment, you pay $60 for a $300 haircut, right? You're getting so much value. So that one $60 investment could make you thousands upon thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, because of how you're going to become a master at doing these types of haircuts. And also, again, if you're a consumer just watching this, a client, you want to learn more of the art of haircutting, you can purchase it as well. So I do have a range of hair products, hair tools, like I mentioned. I've got, a blow dryer. I've got scissors. I've got combs, hairsprays, all of it, smoothing serums. Shop.TheSalonGuy.com. I've been a hairstylist for over 30 years. You've probably seen lots of my videos. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I hope that this really resonates with a lot of you. So use code YouTube20. It's an exclusive code, YouTube20 for 20% off at shop.TheSalonGuy.com. shop.thesalonguy.com. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.